Hey BoLS fans, AdamHarry here, back again with another BoLS review, unboxing, whatever you want to call it. Today I'm going over the new Mutant Chronicles Warzone Resurrection book. This is for the tabletop war game, skirmish level / slightly bigger level game for Warzone Resurrection. This game is designed by Prodos Games. Paradox is the big parent company that owns the stuff for Mutant Chronicles. If you are not familiar at all with Mutant Chronicles, it's actually an RPG, originally a pen and paper game around 93-ish is when it came out. There's actually a movie in 2008 for Mutant Chronicles, so it's been around for a while as far as a IP, as far as a game system. It's been out for quite a while. Matter of fact, it's even crossed over into video games before. I remember a game back on the Super Nintendo and Sega called Doom Troopers, based in the Mutant Chronicles universe. So this is where this game takes place. It's been around for a while. It's a pretty fun, pretty wacky IP. Basically, it's kind of a post-apocalyptic / dirty, gritty version of Infinity. Earth has gone to crap. Mega corporations have kind of taken over and moved to other planets. There's a big existential threat from aliens or demons or whatever you want to call them. We'll get into all that later, but basically it's universe is crazy. There's corporations fighting over resources and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm going to run through kind of the book overall. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and jump on in. The book itself is full color, as you can see here, all the way through. Tons of stuff. They had a couple of background guys. You might remember Andy Horry from back in GW days. That's one of the names I recognize right off the bat there. So pretty cool stuff. Over 288 pages, full color, like I was saying. It's going to have all your intro to the universe that we're going to play in here with the game. All the different rules and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the universe because I don't want to butcher it all, because there's a lot. It's actually a pretty, fairly developed universe. Just Google it, check it out. There's actually quite a bit of like I said, backstory going on there. So quite a few pages of backstory. Goes over the different factions. There are 7 factions in the game. In this book, there are lists and rules for 6 of them, and we'll go over that here in a little bit too. The art style itself, I actually like. It's kind of this weird mix of kind of heroic style art where they have big hands and bigger heads in some cases, down to like some Geiger-esque stuff here, like this robot with all the little details and stuff like that. So it's cool, pretty neat stuff. The basic rules of this game, if you are interested in playing, you start off. First off, the rules I want to mention can be found online on their website, warzonegame.com. There's a PDF of the rules. You can also just Google it for the rules. It's just the rules part of it. It doesn't have any of the background or anything like that, but you'll be able to go. So that's neat. You can get the rules online. You can also buy the rule book from their website. It's like $34.99 in pounds, which is like $58 or so in dollars. But anyway, scale overall is somewhere in this weird mix of like 28 to 32 millimeter heroic scale. Again, that's where they have the bigger hands, kind of exaggerated hands, and slightly larger heads compared to the rest of their body and stuff like that. Rules wise, it is a D20 system, so you're going to be rolling a lot of D20s in this. You want to roll low in most cases. So if you roll a 1, it's usually an auto pass. If you roll a 20, it's usually an auto fail. And you want to roll equal to or less than the relative target number or stat. Overall, it's pretty simple. Honestly, it's very simple, very similar in some ways to Infinity with that type stuff for the D20s and things like that. But also, if you're familiar with any other modern tabletop game like 40K, Fantasy, War Machine, stuff like that, it's all going to be very, very familiar to you. Really easy to pick up. Your stat line is pretty straightforward here. You've got your movements, your close combat, range skill, so close combat, weapon skill or whatever. Range skill is your ballistic skill. Strength is how hard you hit. Constitution, how tough you are. Willpower for psychic checks. Leadership, number of wounds, and armor value. And then your armor value is your armor save. You can get 2 values for that, honestly. Actually, one's like 1 in brackets is like your invulnerable save. They call it impenetrable armor value. So the armor can't be reduced below that number, and you want to roll again under that value. So strength actually modifies the armor. So for instance, if your armor is 18 and you get hit by a strength 15 attack, that's going to be a -5 on their chart. And so that's actually going to drop you down to a 13 to roll under. And I'll get into all that here in a sec. We're getting pretty close. But it's really straightforward as far as the rules go that way. They do talk about models, the magic cylinder, if you will, for how much space or volume a model's taken up. So they do have that for medium bases and stuff like that for each guy. They also have a front and rear facing. Again, if you're familiar with War Machine, all this stuff is going to be really easy for you to pick up. So that's pretty straightforward. Action rules, for the most part, each model in the game has 2 action points that they can spend. Basic actions cost 1 point. Advanced actions cost 2 points. 2 points to use. If you fail an action, you actually lose your turn, but that's very rare. That's stuff like jumping, or if you want to make a gap and you fail or something like that. Engaging is one other example of that. Engaging is like charging in close combat. You double your movement, but if you fail, you lose that second action. So, what else want to go over here for rules wise? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, like I was saying. Regular definitions kind of explain everything. I'm not going to get into too much gameplay stuff because it's a lot to go through. Although it's not super complicated. The rule section is actually pretty straightforward. I'm sure I'm going to mess something up if I try to explain how the gameplay is right now without showing you guys models and stuff. But they do have quite a bit of pictures to help out with that, and then they actually show off some charts later on in the game basics here, such as armor tests, how that all works. They have flow charts to explain stuff. They have just great examples for you, types of terrain. The game turn is actually a flow chart as well, kind of explains all that. And also I want to mention, just throughout, it's got this art style. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not too good with artists, but it definitely reminds me of the video game from the early 90s. On the Super Nintendo, kind of mid to early 90s, I think. But it's kind of this weird heroic scale where they have really big hands and really big heads, and I'll show you more examples of that here as we go through. Overall shooting section, again, nice flow chart to explain everything. Yeah, pretty good as far as that goes. This is what I'm talking about as far as the art style goes. Like, he's got a pretty large head and jaw, very heroic scale, and big muscly arms. Body's kind of less defined, stuff like that. So really kind of cartoonishly large guns and stuff like that. But yeah, still kind of fun. It's almost like it's realistic that went a little bit over the top with it, kind of like almost like a Judge Dredd style thing. So templates are in the game. Close combat section again explains all that fun stuff. What else we want to go through? Just gonna get through the rules. And the psychics are in the game, so you can throw stuff around. There are defensive psychic abilities and offensive ones as well, so that's good. Special rules, they do have special rules for each faction as well, and then stuff like crack shot. Like, for instance, when the model with crack shot special skill makes an aim action, they gain an additional +2 to their range shot or range skill. So again, it just modifies your to hit roll basically. So stuff like that. It's all over the game. They do have rules for structures and vehicles. Again, more of that big jaw art style that I was talking about. Collapsing structures. I think I skipped over the damage chart for strength attacks, but basically how it works is a 10 is a 0. Anything weaker than 10 is +1 on their armor save, and anything stronger than 10 is -1. So an 11 is a -1, a 13 is a -3, etc. Going on there. There are cards in the advanced game. Basically, your warlord type determines the number of resource cards, and then they have different abilities that the cards can actually activate, or you can burn cards to get +1 to rolls and stuff like that. Turn to burn is the mechanics. Basically, you tap it. The way it works, it's a neat way to get modifiers or abilities from outside of your typical stats. So. They do mix in a little bit with the card play there. So, talking about deck construction, there can be no more than 3 cards of the same strategy cards in the deck. There can be no more than 5 of the same tactical cards, and there can be no more than 3 of the same gear cards in the deck. So, yeah, cards are a thing. Vehicles, same deal. They have front and rear facing, just like guys. They have a different stat. It's, where is it at? Their stat for damage is called, where was it? It's an SP. It's like structure points, I think. So, anyway, pivoting, talking about center of the vehicle. Yes, you can pivot in this game. Lane Raider. What? Heroes of the Solar System. And again, just talks about the different stats for that. This is the Offensive Organization Chart, OOC. Basically a standard organization chart, and then bigger, the mega one, the heavy, and then there's a gargantuan one as well. So for each troop and stuff like that, how many lord choices you can take and warlords and stuff like that. So chain of command, stuff like that. So there are missions included in the game, and you actually roll for which mission you're playing, or you can roll. You can just choose if you really want to. Talk about objective markers, but here are the different missions. There's priority missions, and there are also secondary missions, and you roll for each one, and it tells you. So let's see. Basically goes up to there's 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. So 10% per mission to roll. There's 10 missions, so that makes sense. And then secondary missions, same deal. There's 6. Yeah, 6 missions, and they're 3-point spread. So, yeah. Anyway, there's also corporate agenda missions. So you can have quite a few games. You know, just the replay value in that, just playing the different missions and different combinations of missions. It's quite a cool thing. It is a points-based game. I forgot to mention that earlier. They recommend a typical game is anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 points for a normal game. Approximately 1 to 2 hours per that. You can go up to more than that. You know, points-wise, you can pretty much, if you want to play one of the gargantuan games, you can go as big as you want. Standard games, they recommend a 4x4 or a 4x6. They also recommend at least 45% coverage of terrain. It's important to have terrain in this game. Again, it's kind of a grimdark version of Infinity, grittier version of Infinity. So as far as that goes, it's very similar with the terrain and stuff like that too. So, but they walk you through starting a game and all that fun stuff. Pretty straightforward. Now we're going to jump into the forces of Warzone Resurrection here. So, okay, as I mentioned earlier, in this book there are 6 factions. There's actually a 7th faction. You can check it out on their website. It's called the Imperials. It's not listed in this book. I think they make references to it, but they just don't have any. I didn't see any rules for it when I was looking through here. So, first off, you have the Bauhaus. This is the I best describe them as a World War I inspired Europe faction, kind of aesthetic going on. The one thing I will say about this book, and the one thing I don't know, I guess they just didn't have the models made in time for pictures, but they don't have a lot of pictures of what the models look like, but they do have them online. But they have a lot of art and text in this book, so it's a very dense book as far as words. There's quite a bit of them. It's a very dense book. Again, over 288 pages of stuff, with a lot of art as well, so just it's very dense. But they do have special characters listed, and then again points values and stuff like that. I think Max Steiner here was actually one of the characters from the old Doom Troopers game, if I remember correctly. So, like I said, European kind of aesthetic. This is the Hussars, which I think are their basic trooper. They have the pith helms with the spikes on top and stuff like that. So, kind of neat. Again, the Rangers. They have these really cool body armor type, like special suits, like Terminators, with like machine guns and power fists and stuff like that. I don't know what they're actually called in game, but that's what they're. Let's see if we can find it here. Equipment: they have a MG70 heavy machine gun, flamethrowers, hydraulic power fist, and steel strider armor. So they're pretty butch. But that's the Bauhaus. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that word, but that's them. They also have vehicles. Again, each faction has a vehicle or monster or something like that, and then a big heavy unit, infantry unit, and then of course the heroes. So most of the factions, like I said, are pretty well rounded in that regard. Capital, these guys are basically the cocky American-looking guys. They're slightly more modern than Bauhaus, and they have their home bases on Mars. They have, again, I forgot to mention this too, each one has special rules. Each faction has special rules, general special rules and stuff like that. And Close Combat, Tech Warlord, everybody's got different special rules. The Ranged Warlord, for instance. This is what I was talking about, the cocky kind of guy. You have Captain Mitch Hunter, hero of the 9th Sea Lions. He's got the big hero jaw, and he's very Judge Dredd / cartoony. That's his model and his canine that runs with him. Big Bob Watts. This is another guy got chain guns on his wrist there. So let me see if I can find their base guy. Those are all heroes. They have light infantry. These are the prototype models, the CG models of them. They're pretty neat. If you check them out online, they actually have models. They're pretty cool too. Heavy infantry there. Free Marines. More of the same kind of modern military style armor and buoy helmets, stuff like that. So there's the Sea Lions. These are the Martian Banshees. This is like their special assault unit. They have skull masks. Pretty cool. K9 teams. They have the Purple Sharks, which is their vehicle, and an Orca battle suit. Big old battle suit there. They have like a water theme, obviously. Mishima, Death Before Dishonor. This is the Asian, mostly Japanese style army. They have Ronin, samurais, and they have just a whole bunch of close combat guys with katanas and blades and stuff like that. Crazy cool Japanese inspired armor. I wasn't joking when I said Ronin samurais. So yeah, Hatamoto, giant robots. Of course they're Japanese, so of course they're good robots, right? Forearm guys. They ride dragons. What else? Just really cool. Kind of that cool, smooth manga aesthetic too going on with the armor. Then you have Cybertronic, which is steel and stealth. This faction is very interesting. Storyline wise, they kind of popped up overnight, literally in the background. They do pop up overnight, and then become a corporation with some shenanigans on the Wall Street, apparently. So, but they are robots. These are your Cybertronic, big robot guys. It's the Immortal, Eversar. Lots of different stuff. You have a couple humans. That's Dr. Diana. And then what do we have left? That's Cybertronic. You get the idea. Terminator. Invisible robots. So advanced machinators. That looks cool. This is a scorpion. It's a dude with a scorpion tail there. So alright. And real quick, I'm going to find the next one and pause. This is the next faction. This is the Brotherhood. They are the kind of religious sect, zealots. They are the Burnators of the future with their chainsaw guns and flamethrowers. You know where I'm going with this. Same deal. They have special rules. They have a cardinal who's kind of the leader, or one of the warlords there. Yeah, they're cool. They don't have a lot of model pictures. Again, I wanted to show off more stuff, just art-wise, but lots of text. This is kind of the general aesthetic. They have the cool kind of Eldar-ish helmets with the kind of flat or kind of triangular points and stuff like that. Big red, big armor, stuff like that. Valkyries. Pretty neat faction in and of itself. Adjudicators. But yeah. This is the bad guys. These are the Dark Legion. They are your mutants. They put the mutant in Mutant Chronicles. They are undead, demon, mutant, hybrid, chaosy bad guys. Flipping through their stuff, you clearly see they have the bad guys. Just the text change and even the border kind of gives it all away. This is the bad guys. Head leader there. Cunning. See, this is what I'm talking about. Need more pictures of models, but they're online, so check them out. Golgotha, Mistress of Pain. This crazy looking, I don't even know what to call him, goblin, demon, orc, hybrid, dark priest guy. Undead, legionnaires, necro mutants. This is one of the big guys there. Praetorian stalkers. Yeah, Praetorian Behemoth, just big forearm creature, crazy gun, crazy horns and spikes and nastiness. Necro Beast Riders, that's their mounted unit. Black Widow, that's their big vehicle tank. That's pretty much it. Then they go through pictures of the armory, which is kind of cool, just for background stuff. But yeah, that's the basic rundown of this game. Hope you enjoyed it. This has been another BoLS review. Overall, I do like this book. I think it's definitely worth the value. If you are interested in this game, their rules, again, are online. Go check them out if you want to play some test games before you make the jump. But if you are interested, they also have starter boxes, which I'm going to be opening up here soon. So keep an eye out for that one as well. Starter boxes for Warzone Resurrection from the Mutant Chronicles universe. Made a game by Prodos Games. This is Adam here for BoLS signing off. Have a good one.